Let us for a few moments think of the Divine Lord in our heart and pray for the welfare of the whole humanity. Shanti. Peace, peace, peace be unto all. Om Sthapakaya cha dharmasya Sarvadharmasvarupine Sthapakaya cha dharmasya Sarvadharmasvarupine Avatara Varishtaya Ramakrishna te Namah. Asato ma sadgamaya Tamaso ma jyotirgamaya Asato ma sadgamaya Tamaso ma jyotirgamaya Mrityorma mritangamaya. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Let us offer our salutations to Sri Ramakrishna, the embodiment of all religions, the Supreme Incarnate. Let us pray to Him to lead us from unreal to the real, from the darkness of ignorance to the light of knowledge, from death to immortality. Let Him grant peace to the whole humanity. In every age, there is one predominance. In Krita Yuga, people naturally take to austerities. They have got long life, mind also sufficiently pure. All of them are deeply interested in realizing the truth. And though they carry on the activities of the world, they are not attached to the extent they lose everything. They discharge their duties, but their whole mind is on the divine Paramatman. Whatever they want to get, they would adore God and practice austerities and get their fulfillment. So all the activities were done in such a way that the idea of God was in everything. People would live for a long time. That was Krita Yuga. Next comes the Treta Yuga, where the people take to sacrifices, doing yajnas, havans. For everything, they do havan and get their desires fulfilled. Then comes Dwapar Yuga, where people take to image worship. They like rituals. They spend long hours in worshipping the Lord through many items. But in Kali Yuga, it is done only through bhakti, devotion. It is in this modern age, mind gets distracted to the maximum extent. Maximum. It is rather very difficult to get back the mind into the divine. It immediately gets stuck up in the things of the world. In this modern age, people get lost in various types of attachments. They forget the Divine Lord, they forget truth, they completely become extrovert. Their whole energy, whole mind, everything is scattered in all distracted activities. So, and age also, span of life also is very less compared to the previous ages. Even though the span of human life is 100 years, not many would live up to 100, probably 70, 80. So, it is not very easy to get good training of the mind unless the mind is properly cultured. It is impossible to take to spiritual life in the real sense. They want to be spiritual, but they are not practical. There is the difficulty. One gets involvement in spiritual life only when one becomes attracted to spiritual life. That is why Sri Ramakrishna plays a very important role in this context. He practiced all religions, practiced most difficult tantric sadhanas, most dangerous practices also he undertook. He found out the truth in everything. True. But then he advised the people which path they have to choose. There are so many paths, no doubt. But the path of love, bhakti, Sri Ramakrishna prescribes for the modern people. If this also cannot be practiced by them, then it means there is no hope. It is rather very difficult to realize the divine through the path of knowledge, through reasoning. How many people have got that proper way of analyzing and understanding and practicing truth? It doesn't mean that there are no intellectual people at all. It doesn't mean that way. It does not also mean that those who take to the path of love are inferior to the people who take to the path of devotion, path of knowledge, etc. No. There is no question of inferiority, superiority in the practice of religion. If you are sincere, you will get it. What Sri Ramakrishna is telling is how to get that absolute truth in our very life because the lifespan is too short. You can't expect too many years so that you can, one after another, you can do things. No, impossible. Just after 50 or 55 years, you are gone completely. You are existing physically, but you are incapable of doing anything. Mind becomes very weak. Limbs have become weak. There is no energy. There is no inspiration. How can he think of that high spiritual truth? So, Sri Ramakrishna is giving this prescription. Even though it is Kali Yuga, modern age, even though there are so many attractions, still we need not lose hope. Take to the path of love. Love God. Be sincere. That's all. So, that's what Sri Ramakrishna is always stressing upon. So he, as soon as he practiced religions, the first thing which he himself practiced in life is, even before stepping into the life, he began to think very deeply, what for I have come here? What for? What is the purpose of this life? Then he declares the purpose of human life. The goal of human life is to love God. That should be primary. If one can love God properly, he can love everybody. He can love very nicely, very efficiently, and that is a way of realizing the truth. So Sri Ramakrishna compares the love of milkmaids towards Lord Krishna, how the cowherd boys and milkmaids loved Krishna very dearly. So we must cherish that type of pure love. We want him, nothing else. As I told earlier, the world is full of attractions, particularly in modern times. In previous ages, people would get distracted by celestial temptations. The angels would tempt in so many ways, offering them whatever they want, luxuries, comforts, enjoyment, celestial enjoyments. Million times more than what they enjoy in this world, so that their mind can be distracted. But in this modern age, these worldly things which are so unreal are attracting the mind. So unless the mind is taken back from all these things, it is not possible to practice religion. So Sri Ramakrishna tells how to do it. It is true, we know it, but it is difficult to follow it up. Then Sri Ramakrishna he suggests, yes, no doubt it is difficult, but it becomes easy when you associate yourself with holy company. This is very important in this modern age. Holy company. In the absence of holy people, we have got wonderful books which deal with these religious ideas. Take to them, read them, follow them up. That's what Sri Ramakrishna says. He was very particular about the association. And he would attract people. Once they come to him, they would love to come again and again. That is divine attraction. The attraction which expects nothing in return. There is no shopkeeping love. Perfectly pure. He loves because he loves. That's it. So, and Sri Ramakrishna showed the people how that divine love would be by his own example. How he loved the people. That was the demonstration of divine love. Many times, some devotees who would come, they would not come regularly. Sri Ramakrishna would become very much concerned. He would inquire through somebody, what happened to that person? He didn't come. Why he didn't come? Referring to Master Mahasaya, once he said, you told that you have no attachment to things of the world, etc., and so on and so forth. But how is it then you are not able to come? How is it you are absent for so many days? That shows your mind is stuck up somewhere. In fact, Sri Ramakrishna had told him, if for any reason he could not come, he should communicate to him. He should write a letter why it has not been possible for him to come and meet him. Master Mahasaya was amazed how much concern Sri Ramakrishna is showing for him. For what? Does he expect any money from him? Does he want any gifts from him? No. Just he wants him to love God in every respect and to see that his mind gets good training in spiritual life. That is what Sri Ramakrishna wanted. So whenever you have to require training, it must be done not haphazardly, in a very systematic way. Suppose you have to learn music. Just if you hear once a song or once if you sing, can you learn it? How many days you have to practice every day, early hours in the morning? I know in India, they would teach music early morning, early hours, because early hours, mind is naturally in a very concentrated state. It is easy to concentrate. It is easy to focus. So for everything, early morning is prescribed. Let alone spiritual life, even for worldly things, early morning is prescribed. Well, how many hours one has to practice? Hours and hours. Once you get established, then it is yours. Then what to speak of spirituality? So, culturing of the mind, establishment of character, strong roots in love and devotion, fixing the goal without any doubt, and giving all attention to achieve that before this life passes away. These are the very essential factors which we should bear in mind. Sri Ramakrishna has given these thoughts to us to practice religion in this way. That is why Sri Ramakrishna tells very often, you may be a householder, you may be having some business, you may be engaged in some activities. Well, it's all right. Don't talk about such things. It's all very, very natural. There is nothing special about it. But what I want to say is, though you are working there, let your mind be in God. Though a person is working in factory or in a bank, his being is in the home. How his wife and children could be looked after. Though he works in the bank or the factory, his mind is really in the house and the welfare of his family. And in the same way, though we are all engaged in some type of activities in the world, we have to, as long as we live in this world, we have to engage in themselves. We have to engage ourselves in some activities, no doubt. But then, the activities should not overwhelm us in forgetting God, in trying to give reasons for not doing spiritual practices. We are deceiving ourselves by that way. We are deceiving. So, Sri Ramakrishna tells, advises, practice renunciation. Practice it. Internal renunciation, meant for all who want spiritual life, who wants truth to be realized, who wants to see God, who wants to experience love in this very life. He must have that faculty of renunciation. What is that? His mind is not attached to anything other than God. Attachment to God is not called as attachment. It is love to God. Loving God. If you love God, you love the whole world. You love the whole creation. You love everybody. Everybody. Good, bad. Sinner. Perfect man. Everybody, anybody. Not only animate beings, even the inanimate things. The whole creation. You develop that all-embracing love consciousness. That's the beauty of renunciation. By practicing renunciation, you are losing nothing, you gain everything. By practicing renunciation, you are not cutting off your connection with family, with your house, with your dear ones. No. But your approach is different. Hitherto you are loving in one way. Now because your love is centered in God, you love them much more better way. That is how Sri Ramakrishna explains this love of God. There is nothing to fear. If one who loves God, he gets everything. In fact, the more and more he loves God, the more and more he prays, "Oh Lord, don't give me anything. Don't give me things that distract my mind. I want you. I want you alone." By seeing him, he gets the fulfillment. He feels all his desires are fulfilled. He doesn't desire anymore. He doesn't hate anybody. He doesn't grieve for anything. Na dveshti, na shochati, na kankshati. That's the state. That beautiful, complete fruit is obtained by practicing the religion of love. So, if one is not aspiring to realize truth, to realize God, then everything is futile. Everything is futile. No meaning to whatever we do. No meaning. Absolutely no meaning. Just imagine 200 years back how people lived, what did they do, what happened now? Time sweeps away everything. Time takes away everything. So, he who fixes his mind in God is the real one who has enjoyed his life properly, who has known the purpose of life, and he has done his duty. So he who practices this religion of love, God helps him in so many ways. He gives him better life so that he can do better spiritual practices. So the devotees of Sri Ramakrishna should no more grumble, should no more complain about things around us. If we are the devotees of Sri Ramakrishna, we must always think of him wherever we are, whatever we are doing. That's the point. So, this is the great secret Sri Ramakrishna has said. What is that? Renounce everything and call on God. He alone is real. Without the realization of God, everything is futile. So far we had read about these things. Now I shall read a few lines in Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna, and then I shall invite you to speak about your observations and comments and questions, etc. We have read up to 95, now page 96. Sri Ramakrishna was seated with his devotees in the drawing room of Ramakrishna Mukherjee's house in Calcutta. It was between 1 and 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Since Colonel Vishwanath lived in that neighborhood, the master intended to visit him before going to see Keshav at the Lily Cottage. A number of neighbors and other friends of Pranakrishna had been invited to meet Sri Ramakrishna. They were all eager to hear his words. Today Master is talking on a different subject. Master said, God and His glory. This universe is His glory. People see His glory and forget everything. They don't see God, whose glory is this world. All seek to enjoy lust and wealth. But there is too much misery and worry in that. Who is there who is happy by enjoying these things? There is more pain than enjoyment. This world is like the whirlpool of Vishalakshi, a stream near Sri Ramakrishna's birthplace, Kamarpakor. Once a boat gets into it, there is no hope of its rescue. Again, you find it very difficult to get out. Living in the world, a man becomes seared as it were. Devotee asked the question, then sir, what is the way? Master answered, prayer and the company of holy men. You can't get rid of an ailment without the help of a physician. But it is not enough to be in the company of religious people only for a day. You should constantly seek it, for the disease has become chronic. Again, you can't understand the pulse rightly unless you live with a physician. Moving with him constantly, you learn to distinguish between the pulse of Felgum and the pulse of bile. Again the devotee asked, what's the good of holy company? Sri Ramakrishna answered, it begets yearning for God. It begets love of God. Nothing whatsoever is achieved in spiritual life without yearning. By constantly living in the company of holy men, the soul becomes restless for God. This yearning is like the state of mind of a man who has someone ill in the family. His mind is in a state of perpetual restlessness, thinking how the sick person may be cured. Or again, One should feel a yearning for God like the yearning of a man who has lost his job and is wandering from one office to another in search of work. If he is rejected at a certain place which has no vacancy, he goes there again the next day and inquires, is there any vacancy today? There is another way. Earnestly praying to God. God is our very own. We should say to Him, O God, what is Thy nature? Reveal Thyself to me. Thou must show Thyself to me, for why else hast Thou created me? Some Sikh devotees once said to me, God is full of compassion. I said, but why should we call Him compassionate? He is our Creator. What is there to be wondered at if He is kind to us? Parents bring up their children. Do you call that an act of kindness? They must act that way. Therefore, we should force our demands on God. He is our Father. He is our Mother. Isn't He? If the son demands his patrimony and gives up food and drink in order to enforce his demand, then the parents hand his share over to him 3 years before the legal time. Or when the child demands some pice from his mother and says over and over again, Mother, give me a couple of pies. I beg you on my knees. Then the mother, seeing his earnestness and unable to bear it anymore, tosses the money to him. There is another benefit from holy company. It helps one cultivate discrimination between the real and the unreal. God alone is the real, that is to say, the eternal substance, and the world is unreal, that is to say, transitory. As soon as a man finds his mind wandering away to the unreal, he should apply discrimination. The moment an elephant stretches out its trunk to eat a plantain tree in a neighbor's garden, it gets a blow from the iron goad of the driver. A neighbor asked, why does a man have sinful tendencies? Sri Ramakrishna answered, in God's creation there are all sorts of things. He has created bad men as well as good men. It is He who gives us good tendencies, and it is He again who gives us evil tendencies. Then the neighbor asked, in that case we are not responsible for our sinful actions, are we? Sri Ramakrishna answered, sin begets its own result. This is God's law. Won't you bum your tongue if you chew a chili? In his youth, Mathur, the son-in-law of Rani Rasmani and a great devotee of Sri Ramakrishna, led a rather fast life. So he suffered from various diseases before his death. One may not realize this in youth. I have looked into the hearth in the kitchen of the Kali temple when logs are being burnt. At first, the wet wood burns rather well. It doesn't seem then that it contains much moisture. But when the wood is sufficiently burnt, all the moisture runs back to one end. At last, water squirts from the fuel and puts out the fire. So one should be careful about anger, passion, and greed. Take for instance the case of Hanuman. In a fit of anger, he burnt Ceylon. At last he remembered that Janaki was living in the Ashoka grove. Then he began to tremble lest the fire should injure her. Then the neighbor again asked a question, why has God created wicked people? Sri Ramakrishna answered, that is His will, His play. In His Maya, there exists avidya as well as vidya. Darkness is needed too. It reveals all the more the glory of light. There is no doubt that anger, lust and greed are evils. Why then has God created them? Why? In order to create saints. A man becomes a saint by conquering the senses. Is there anything impossible for a man who has subdued his passions? He can even realize God through his grace. Again, see how his whole play of creation is perpetuated through lust. Wicked people are needed too. At one time, the tenants of an estate became unruly. The landlord had to send Golak Chowdhury, who was a ruffian. He was such a harsh administrator that the tenants trembled at the very mention of his name. There is need of everything. Once Janaki said to her husband, Rama, it would be grand if every house in Ayodhya were a mansion. I find many houses old and dilapidated. But my dear, said Rama, if all the houses were beautiful ones, what would the masons do? Laughter. God has created all kinds of things. He has created good trees and poisonous plants and weeds as well. Among the animals there are good, bad and all kinds of creatures. Tigers, lions, snakes and so on. Then the neighbor asked, Sir, is it ever possible to realize God while leading the life of a householder? Master, certainly. Let us stop here. The time is going up. Now, every one of you is welcome to speak and give your comments and ask questions if there is anything to be clarified. Reality is that which always exists. The unreality is that keeps on changing every moment. That's the thing. For example, this body. Every moment it is changing. The whole metabolism is constantly undergoing change. But there is one which is not changing in this body. That is the soul. The spirit. It is not changing. Though the body ages, the spirit is same. I say I was young. My boyhood days, my youthful days, my old age. I refer to my. Who is that I and my? The consciousness prevailing in this body-mind complex. That is the real. So that we know theoretically, that is the real. But how to realize it? Once you realize the truth, then you will have the experience of peace and bliss. Then you will no more have any kind of suffering. So, why we suffer? Because we cling to unreal things. Things are not permanent. We are attached to some things, but they go away after some time. I love my child very dearly. After some time, it goes away. It pains me a lot. If a neighbor's child goes away, I don't feel that way. Why? Because there is no attachment. That's the thing. Suppose there is a puppy or cat. You love it so much, you can't even go out to the house. What will happen to this puppy? What will happen to this cat? You're constantly worried over it. So much so, you're tagged. You can't get out of it. Even though you want to go, you can't because of this attachment. Attachment is misery. You can love the thing, but you need not be attached. That's what Sri Ramakrishna says. That higher type of love one can achieve, one can cultivate in the company of holy people. You do the things, you take all measures. Suppose the cat is there, you engage somebody to look after the cat. That's it. You need not worry over that. Even when you are staying there, what you are going to do? You are just taking care of what you want to do. In the same way, you can get it done through somebody. That's the way. So, that is how we should look into real and unreal. Things happen around us. So many clashes of temperament, so many things happen. Why do they happen? We should analyze. We should become indrawn. We should get our mind inward. Turn thine eyes unto thyself. you will realize the truth. So that is not so easy, but it should be done. It is not easy because our mind has become extrovert. It becomes easy once you turn the mind inside. Once you develop concentration, once you do meditation properly, 2-3 times a day, frequently doing it, then you will understand these things slowly. That's the thing. No, the point is, he can love her, he should love her to the maximum extent possible. Sri Ramakrishna loved Holy Mother. Finest example. Can anybody love like that? He would not say even a slight slant word against her. Once, while inadvertently he addressed Holy Mother as Tuhi. Tuhi means in a singular way. It's a slang word. Generally they won't use it. They use it for calling the servants, etc. But without knowing that Sharada Devi is coming, he used this word. After he came to know that it's Holy Mother coming to her. Then he asked apology. Oh, I used that word I should not have used. Please don't feel insulted. She loved her to the maximum extent. That is called pure love. But what happens is, our body, our love degenerates into body level. So we suffer. As long as a particular person satisfies my desire, I love the being. Once that is not done, simply I kick that person out. That is not love. If you really love a person, you must love to the end, not cutting off yourself. So that means the desire plays important role than the love. Because the desire to enjoyment, person wants to enjoy. It doesn't mean that he should not enjoy. I am not telling that. Let him enjoy, but not too much. Too much enjoyment means too much degeneration. Have some limit in your enjoyment, then you will enjoy the life also. Develop mutual understanding and develop mutual love. That is how you must build up the life. A real life is that one which is based on love. If the life is based on enjoyment, it is always disharmony. It always ends in peacelessness. So, the life should be based on love. What type of love? This pure love. That you have to understand, that you have to learn, you must get training, and like that you must proceed onwards. That's why I told you, importance must be given for our character development from the beginning. Not after some age. Now why do you feel so much riots, so much violence everywhere? Because the youth have been let loose in the society. They don't have any control. Nobody can say anything to them either in the home or in the colleges or in the schools. The society cannot do anything. How can you expect the youth to learn themselves? No doubt, in spite of it, some youths do learn, but that number is too small. Majority of the youths, they go bad. Because there is no proper guidance, there is no proper direction, which should have been given by the parents, by the society, by everybody. It is not the job of one particular being. We are all connected. All of us have got a share in the moral development, ethical and spiritual development of the persons. Everyone is responsible. We should help each other that way. How best we can live the life. That's the idea. But how many people have got the patience to learn and get training? They want to do everything quickly. It's impossible. Yeah. Yes? Now, Hamsa is the swan. It is the symbol of purity. If you see the swan, it is so lovely and milky white, and it is said, even if you give the water and milk, It separates the milk from water. So such is the quality of the swan. So the symbol is taken that way. That means the Paramatman, the soul is like that, very pure. Very pure. And of course you know that symbol, I suppose, the symbol that was, the logo that was given by Swami Vivekananda himself, where he has combined all the 4 yogas, the principal yogas by which one can get into the center of the truth, that is realization of God. One is, the serpent is represented, that is Kundalini Yoga, one who practices concentration, meditation on different centers in our spinal cord. It's a regular process. It's a rigorous discipline one has to undertake. If one does it, immediately he gets into that truth. And then the lotus is there, that is the path of devotion, love. And wavy waters, the path of karma, the sun, the knowledge, path of knowledge. So like this, all the 4 yogas are represented there, by following which one can realize his true nature. Hamsa is Paramatman, I have told you. Let us, the Supreme Spirit, the God, what we call, the all-pervading consciousness, Chidananda, ever-existent, who is knowledge himself, Satyam, Jnanam, Anantam, Brahma. Even then the description is incomplete, you must know, because he can't be described that way. Whatever you describe, to that extent you have put limitations. So God is infinite, that's why it's called Ananta. Ananta means infinite. He's everywhere. Everywhere. So we have to realize it. So theoretical knowledge is one thing, realization is another. But you must have intellectual conviction to practice. That's very much needed. During what practices? I have taken up this monastic life, joining the Ramakrishna Mission in India in 1956. And from that time onwards till today, I am practicing in a humble way how to counteract all the evil tendencies and how to cherish the noble virtues in the life. And I am trying to follow the teachings of Sri Ramakrishna to the best of my capacity. And I am surrendering myself to the Lord, and I am doing His work, whatever, wherever He keeps me, wherever He sends me, whatever He asks me to do, I am doing that. That's it. That's how I am practicing like that. Religion, I am practicing this way. So by practicing in this way, slowly, I am understanding how Sri Ramakrishna's teachings are really wonderful in the sense how it transforms our life. Suppose I had not taken up this life at all, it would not have been possible for me to keep my mind in this way where now I am stationed. Now at least I could distinguish between what is attachment, what is non-attachment, what is renunciation, what is this, what is that. I can have at least little glimpse of it because I am at it. All the time I am at it. And whenever things happen, I analyze it and I discriminate and I act upon accordingly. And again, it makes me more and more serious to take up the practices more rigorously, more intensely. Many times I feel I should do more intensely. I feel that way. Because time is passing on. Before we lose all our energy, we must do something very positive so that that momentum is kept up. So realization is not in our hands. What we can do, we should do. The realization depends upon the grace of the Lord. The grace comes only when we do some effort in our life. A lazy man will not be able to receive the grace at all. He must get rid of all lethargy. He must become active. He must do something. If a child tries to walk, the mother helps the child the mother holds the hand of the child and walks along with the child so that it can walk properly. Suppose the child doesn't get up at all, then it becomes crippled. Even though the mother wants to try, if the child doesn't want to get up at all, that means some defect is there. That defect should be removed. In the same way, our life also must be properly led. Silence is God. Well, we shall conclude. Now the time is up. Chant the name of the Lord. Chant the name of the Lord and His glory unceasingly, that the mirror of the heart may be wiped clean and quench that mighty forest fire, worldly lust raging furiously within. O name, stream down in moonlight on the lotus heart, opening its cup to knowledge of thyself. O self, drowned deep in the waves of His bliss, tasting His nectar at every step, bathing in His name, that bath for weary souls. Various are thy names, O Lord, in each and every name thy power resides. No times are set, no rites are needful for chanting of thy name. So vast is thy mercy. How huge then is my wretchedness, who find in this empty life and heart no devotion to thy name. O my mind, be humbler than a blade of grass, be patient and forbearing like a tree. Take no honor to thyself, give honor to all. Chant unceasingly the name of the Lord. O Lord and soul of the universe, mine is no prayer for wealth or retinue, the playthings of lust or the toys of fame, as many times as I may be reborn. Grant me, O Lord, a steadfast love for thee. A drowning man in this world's fearful ocean is thy servant, O sweet one. In thy mercy consider him as dust beneath thy feet. O how I long for that day when an instant's separation from thee, O Lord, will be as 1,000 years, when my heart burns away with its desire, and the world without thee is a heartless void. Prostrate at thy feet let me be, in unwavering devotion, neither imploring the embrace of thine arms, nor bewailing the withdrawal of thy presence, though it tears my soul asunder. O thou who stealest the hearts of thy devotees, do with me what thou wilt, for thou art my heart's beloved, thou and thou alone. O Lord, lead us from unreal to the real, lead us from darkness to light, and lead us from death to immortality. May all be free from dangers, may all realize what is good, may all be actuated by noble thoughts, may all rejoice everywhere, may all be happy, may all be free from disease, may all realize what is good, may none be subject to misery. May the wicked become virtuous, may the virtuous attain tranquility, may the tranquil be free from bonds, may the freed make others free. May good betide all people, may the sovereign righteously rule the earth, may all beings ever attain what is good, may the worlds be prosperous and happy, may the clouds pour rain in time, may the earth be blessed with crops, may all countries be freed from calamity, may holy men live without fear. May the Lord, the destroyer of sins, the presiding deity of all sacred works, be satisfied. For he being pleased, the whole universe becomes pleased. He being satisfied, the whole universe feels satisfied.